A 3.8 million year old skull puts a new face on a little known human ancestor. It's very strange to think of this as an ancestor of humans, but anyway, the cranium of a male Australopithecus anamensis, a close relative of Lucy, provides clues about one of the earliest hominins to walk on two legs. Spotting the intact Australopithecus skull in the Ethiopian dirt caused paleoanthropologist Johann Haile Selassie to literally jump for joy. He said it was something that I've never seen before, and I've seen a lot of cranial fossils. The chance discovery of Haile Selassie and the Ethiopian shepherd has created a captivating portrait of a 3.8 million year old face, providing an unprecedented look at a hominin species from a key stage of human evolution. Experts say the extraordinary fossil can help redefine the branches of humans' evolutionary tree during a time when our ancestors had just evolved efficient ways to walk upright. That's assuming you believe in the theory of evolution, of course. This cranium looks set to become another celebrated icon of human evolution. Fred Spoor, a human evolution researcher at the Natural History of Museum in London, writes in a News and Views article that accompanied Haile Selassie colleagues' new study in the journal Nature. The amazing complete skull surfaced at Woranso Mile in Ethiopia's Afar region back in 2016, but it's taken 3.5 years of hard work to answer the first question that arose: just what kind of skull is this? Haile Selassie and colleagues compared the skull, dubbed MRD, after part of its collection ID number, with a wide variety of hominin fossils from across Africa. They sized up different morphological features to see what species the cranium represents and where it fits in the interconnected lineage of our family tree. The results identify the skull as belonging to a male Australopithecus anamensis, a hominin species that theorized to have vanished a bit earlier than 3.8 million years ago, after giving rise to the later lineage Australopithecus afarensis, to which the famed fossil Lucy belongs. Australopithecus anamensis has traits of both apes, climbing arms and wrists, and human changes in the ankles and knee joints to facilitate walking on 2 feet. Most previous fossil specimens of Australopithecus anamensis are limited to small bits of bone, such as a tooth, partial jaw, or fragment of an arm or shin. The opportunity to study a nearly complete brain case and face confirms the southern ape as a unique species and shines light on the difference between two of our most ancient hominin ancestors, Australopithecus anamensis and Australopithecus afarensis. Most of anamensis owns traits their own traits are quite primitive. Haile Selassie explains, noting the individual's small brain, protruding face, and large canine teeth. There are a few features exclusively shared with afarensis, like the orbital region of the frontal area, but everything else is really primitive. If you look at it from the back, it looks like an ape. This is something that I never expected to see in a species that's hypothesized to be the ancestor of afarensis, so it changes the whole gamut of ideas in terms of the relationship between these two. The skull also cast doubt on prevailing ideas that the older lineage directly gave rise to the younger, instead suggesting that the two lived together, coexisting for at least 100,000 years. Both the study authors stress that it's still quite possible that early populations of anamensis gave rise to afarensis, perhaps 4 million years ago. They just didn't die out immediately afterwards. Probably a small population of anamensis isolated itself from the main population, underwent major changes, and over time distinguished itself from the parent species of anamensis, and that's probably how afarensis appeared, Haile Selassie says. The research team argues that the relationship between the two ancient hominin species, believed to be ancestors to our own genus Homo sapiens, may be a prime example of a nonlinear evolutionary scenario common in other non-human species. anagenesis, when one species evolves to completely into another species, that the progenitor disappears, is not the primary way the branches on our family tree diverge. Just because one species gave rise to another, it doesn't mean that the source species, the ancestor, disappeared, said Rick Potts of the Smithsonian Human Origins Program, who was not involved in the new study. He said said in an email dig from Kenya. He says, we've known for some time that the human family tree is branching and diverse, and like the evolutionary trees of almost all other species, the new cranium is significant because it illustrates this pattern of biodiversity in a poorly known period of hominin evolution, just as our ancestors evolved a stronger and stronger commitment to walking on two legs. Paleoanthropologist Meave Leakey and colleagues reported in 1995 that Anamensis was the first known species to evolve an expanded knee joint that allowed each of its legs to briefly bear all of its body weight during bipedal walking. Bipedalism set our ancestors apart from the apes, enabling ancient hominins to take advantage of a wider range of habitats than those available to tree climbers. A second related study helped to more precisely date the cranium fossil by investigating minerals and volcanic layers where it was found. The work also helped describe the long-vanished world in which Australopithecus anamensis and its kind lived. The skull was buried in sand that was deposited in the river delta on the shores of an ancient lake. The sediment deposits also held botanical remains, revealing that the environment around the ancient lake was predominantly dry shrubland, but there was a mixture of other local ecosystems as well. There were forests around the shores of the lake and along the river that flowed into it, but the surrounding area was dry with few trees. Beverly Saylor, geologist at Case Western Reserve University, lead author of the second study, said at the press conference, the evidence suggests that, like contemporaries from other sites, the male hominin likely dined on a tough ape-like diet of seeds, grasses, and similar fare. Haile Selassie and colleagues have been working in the area of Waranso Mile, Ethiopia, for 15 years. When a local shepherd showed up in the camp to announce he found an intriguing fossil, Haile Selassie was skeptical, especially because locals had often dragged him to visit supposed fossil sites simply because they needed a ride somewhere. He asked Habib Wagris, the local chief who organized fieldwork in the region each year, to take an hour-long walk with the shepherd to visit the site of his find. The chief has seen a lot of teeth of hominins from the site, and he realized that this tooth looked like a human hominin tooth. Haile Selassie said, as soon as he returned and opened his hand and I saw the tooth, I said, where did you find it? They said, let's go and we'll show you. The fossil site was in the region's high ground where the shepherd had moved his flock to escape seasonal flooding in lower areas. He's been living there 3 months with his goats, and he saw the fossil when he was digging a hole for his newborn goats to make a protection for them from jackals and hyenas, Haile Selassie said. On site, the shepherd showed him where the tooth had been lying, and Haile Selassie surveyed the surroundings looking for other fragments. 3 meters from where I was standing, there was this round thing, just like a rock, and I said, oh my goodness. Haile Selassie recalls his reaction, literally jumping up and down with excitement, made the shepherd remark that the doctor has gone crazy. I speak their language, and I said that the doctor is not going crazy, he's just excited, Haile Selassie laughs. And with the rare fossil's formal unveiling, the excitement of the initial find 3 years ago has spread throughout the community of scientists looking to put a human or hominin face on our distant ancestors. And this is on Collective Spark by Brian Handwork, Smithsonian. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. My Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.